Hello from Expatriate Law. My name is Byron James, and I'm here with Alexandra Tribe, who is the managing partner of Expatriate Law. We are international family law specialists, and we're recording this short video to give a brief update about what's happening with the coronavirus COVID-19 situation and how it can impact family law, people living in Dubai, and the English courts. In our work, we represent people who live all across the world in lots of different locations. A lot of our clients live in the UAE and Dubai in particular. There's a great misconception about the jurisdiction that's available in divorce proceedings for people who live abroad. I mean, Alexandra, what is the foundation for somebody who lives abroad with an English connection bringing a case in England for their divorce?
So many expats mistakenly believe that they must divorce in the place that they were married, and in fact that's not the case. An expat can divorce through the English court if they can establish a connection through themselves or their spouse. So it might be that one of you were born in England, or you were born overseas, but your father was domiciled in England at the time of your birth. Or it might be that one or other of you have adopted an English domicile by living in England for a period of time and establishing that as your home place before moving overseas. So it's important to discuss the range of options with your lawyer, because it is not restricted to those who actually live in England. And this can be a huge help for expat families living overseas.
And it's worth bearing in mind that now, with the coronavirus COVID-19 situation, which is of course extremely unfortunate in lots of ways, it's actually one small benefit from it is that people who live abroad can now access the court even easier than they had previously, because all the court hearings are now moving to a remote attendance, which means the video links and telephone hearings are going to become commonplace. And so for people who live abroad, if they want to litigate in England, it's going to be much easier for them to participate in things as they won't need to travel there.
I agree, and especially with the fairly new online system for the courts in England, which our firm is piloting, it means that we will be able to lodge petitions and start divorce proceedings remotely without having to send documents to the court. And similarly, we'll be able to lodge negotiated agreements, whether they're financial agreements, with the court using this new online system, which is excellent.
With regards to children proceedings, one of the great misconceptions is that people have to bring cases regarding the welfare of their children in the country in which they live. But that's not correct, is it, Alexandra?
This is not necessarily the case. Expat families can choose to bring children proceedings through the English courts if they have a certain connection, and that can be discussed with your legal team. We've helped several expat families resolve issues in this way, and this is especially important when the foreign courts may not be open in the country in which you live. So it's important to get the right advice on which laws apply to your children.
They may not be open, and they may not also be open conceptually to some of the cultural issues which would be applicable to an expatriate family.
Absolutely.
One of the situations which is ongoing at the moment with coronavirus and COVID-19 is contact arrangements are being questioned, and people who are wanting to protect the safety of their children have lots of questions about how arrangements can take place. And of course, non-resident parents are also asking whether they can still see their children. And if this is going to be an ongoing situation, what would you say to parents who find themselves in that predicament?
I would say try and stick to the agreed or ordered arrangements as much as possible. But if you feel that there is a serious risk to your children's welfare, then get legal advice, try and think about alternative arrangements, lengthy Skype or video link calls between your former spouse and the children. There are alternative means and ways of resolving these issues in a legal format.
And of course, if you can't reach an agreement with your ex-partner, because these issues are hard to find agreement on sometimes because you're balancing two very important interests, there is always the remedy of the court or an English judge if you need it.
As well as assistance through mediation or children arbitration, and these can all be dealt with remotely. We have a family mediator lawyer within our team who conducts remote mediation sessions for expatriate families. So there are a range of options out there for you.
So on a divorce, one of the orders the court can make is a maintenance order. And one of the things you can do once the maintenance order is made in the future is come back to the court and ask the court to make a different order if the situation has changed. Alexandra, how do you feel about the current climate and the current situation and how that might affect maintenance orders going forward in future?
We've had a few inquiries this week about this issue, Byron. In particular, expatriates who have been told by their employer that their future employment is not certain as a result of the lockdown and their inability to get to the office. And I know this is a huge concern for many expatriate families. And there are certainly remedies that are available, whether this is a long-term change and variation in maintenance or just an agreement that there should be an interim period of reduced maintenance while we see what's happening with the future of everyone's employment and the level of their work.
Now, there are two kinds of maintenance order, aren't there? One is spousal and one is child. Do you think that there's any difference between how the court's going to treat those two types of maintenance order?
I think they'll be looking at the reality of the income that's coming in for the expat families, and looking to take a pragmatic approach to maintenance and the level of maintenance during this time. There is the question of the speed to which courts would be looking at varying maintenance. And it will be important that us as lawyers step in to negotiate interim arrangements while we see the long-term effect of the coronavirus on income levels.
So it's just important to remind people that the maintenance orders we're talking about are ones which have either been obtained in the English court and are in existence at the moment, or if proceedings have started in the English court or are about to start, and you can obtain maintenance in those circumstances as well, can't you?
Yes, absolutely.
A lot of people will be really worried about being able to access legal advice because they are in the same home potentially as the person that they are seeking advice about. Do you have any advice or tips for somebody who wants advice but is worried about how to obtain it when the other person might be sitting in the next room?
Well, we're all here online, and our systems for remote working and video links are really efficient. I had a client yesterday who conducted a consultation with me whilst sitting in her car. I know it's a really worrying time and this is not ideal, but if you can find a secluded place to get quiet advice, then that's essential in this situation.
Expatriate Law are a team of international family law specialists. We're somewhat unique in the sense that we have lawyers based in lots of different locations around the world. And the lawyers that are based in England are usually people who have themselves lived around the world at different times. And so we like to think that we've got a really good insight into expatriate life. And Alexandra, what do you feel is important for people to bear in mind at this particular time with regards to coronavirus and COVID-19?
Just that we are here to help if you have any family law issues that you want to discuss. We're all working remotely at this time, and we can facilitate video link consultations or informal discussion on the telephone or WhatsApp or any method to give this advice. We're here to help.
This is obviously an extremely worrying time for everybody, and there will be lots of people who are isolated either on their own or in difficult circumstances with people that they may feel scared of or fearful of. Alexandra, what advice would you give to people who are really struggling at the moment with regards to coronavirus and COVID-19?
In a family law context, I would say just get the advice you need at the right time. Try and stay calm. Try and reach out to family and friends through video link or WhatsApp. And get the support from those around you who are available to talk in different ways.
And Alexandra, what would you say about the advice that's available online to people in forums just like this one, where quite often that will be the first port of call for somebody who's in trouble or has a question? they'll ask a question on a forum and they'll get a lot of answers. What advice would you have to somebody who has used that as a resource?
I would say be careful about listening in to and taking in advice from fellow expats in certain situations. The advice that you require in a family law context, it needs to be bespoke to your situation. Yours may be very different from another's. So do get the right legal advice and take the advice of others on these sites lightly.
So we are, as I say, a firm of international family law specialists at Expatriate Law. We're here to assist. We know that these are really worrying times for people. Alexandra, do you have any final words that you give to people to go away with, just to think about after watching this video?
Reach out to us. I speak daily to clients all over the world on the telephone or by video link. I'm here for an initial call, informal advice. You can telephone me and I will help as I can.